Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Just Joking, episode 150, with the worst intro, quite possibly in all of podcasting, at least on the Shuli Network, where we are live every Friday, typically at 2 p.m. We are on the Shuli Network on YouTube. If you are tuning in, we want to thank you for tuning in live. Feel free to take part in those chats. Send the super chats, as the cool kids say now. And whatever other chats. If you don't want to pay, I shouldn't say this, Joe, but if you don't want to pay money, just chat it and I'll probably read it anyway.
Hell yeah!
I'm your host, Kevin Dombrowski, joined as always by our fabulous production team. We have Andy and Joe on the ones and twos. If you boys would like to come on screen and show yourself, you sons of bitches.
After all the stuff I started yesterday, I feel like I kind of had to.
Let's start here. If you guys are listening on the audio version, this is the show per usual. We've got an update on the video version of the show and the visual network that we are now on, the Shuli Network. Joe would like a little bit of time because here's what we do on the network. We have other shows like the Uncle Rico Show, Men Are Talking, the BS Show, which I was a guest of, I think this Tuesday. Very funny show. Check that out on the Shuli Network. As well as the Rock Bottom podcast with Ray DeVito, the talk of the town on the network. Joe and I were texting last night. He was texting me his hit list of all of you people that put up questionable super chats. Ray DeVito last night having Aaron Imholt, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Steel Toe on the show for a much publicized interview that turned into, I would say, more of a back and forth and a structuring by Joe, which is what we pay production here for, is to keep us on track. And I think Joe would like to clear up a little bit right now. If you, the air is yours, my friend.
Just a little bit, because there were some members of the audience who thought a couple things. A, like that I was a dick to Ray and that I was mean to Ray. And I just want everybody to understand that I love Ray. I work with Ray. Ray calls me at 1 a.m. to chat. Like when we're on the air, I'm doing what I'm paid to. I have a job to do here, and breaking Ray's balls when we're on the air is part of it. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. But don't take it for that I don't like the man. I like everybody that works here, and we all break each other's balls constantly. And the same thing with the steel toe guy. I have no I think some of the audience was like on my side because I was giving it to that guy and not letting him get away by like weaseling out of answers. But that was my job yesterday. It's not that I have any kind of personal problem with him. I think everybody takes this a lot more seriously than the people involved do. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. Like, nobody has a problem with Ray. We're breaking his balls. That's what we do here. Everybody, like, Kevin, what did I text you first thing this morning?
A picture of someone's asshole.
No, but after that. I said, "Are you
welcome to the club, Kevin?"
I said, "Are you performing anywhere this weekend?" And you text me back where you are this weekend. And what was my response?
I meant Joe Dombrowski. Sorry.
Yes, that's what we do here. We break balls. So I just wanted everybody to know. Everybody loves Ray. We weren't trying to give him a hard time. It was all in good fun yesterday, and we did our job yesterday. You know, we had 4 other shows live streaming our live stream. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Everybody just relax. We're all having fun. Ray's fine, and now let's get to the reason everyone's here.
Beautiful. The reason everyone's here. Send those negative comments towards Joe right up to the front of the screen. We're the human centipede of podcast networks, where we have other podcasts watch us while we watch other people. And to be honest, it's the only place that you can do that. So check us out. If you are a fan of the audio show, you know previous episodes and what our catalog is. I encourage you to join in every Friday in the live chat. Take part, throw out some jokes on some news stories. It's a fun time. It's very interactive now. If you are a new fan of the show, check out previous episodes. Audio only. We've got new video clips from the audio episodes up on my YouTube page with podcasting favorites like Adam Ferrara, Bonnie McFarlane, Joe List, Christina Hutchinson, and previous episodes of our current guest. Today's show is brought to you by Silk City Hot Sauce, as is every episode prior and probably every episode in the future. Dave Dallafor said $5. I got nothing. Just wanted to christen the ship. I appreciate you, Dave. I saw you in the chat yesterday saying that I did not read your chat. I apologize. I went back and I read it to my daughter as her bedtime story in her new toddler bed. So I want to thank you for making a family memory. SilkCityHotSauce.com is presenting this episode live and audio on demand wherever you download podcasts. Head over to SilkCityHotSauce.com. Enter promo code Just Joking. Save 15% on your whole order. Get an extra bottle of hot sauce. Get some stickers. Put those stickers up on your super chats and then stick them to Joe's forehead. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, a returning guest, one of my favorites. Grew up listening to this guy. Perfect fit for the Shuli Network. You heard him on the Howard Stern Show. He has a brand new podcast weekly every Wednesday called Stand Up Memories, which you can check out at stand-upmemories.com. Check out his latest book, The Jokeman, Bow to Stern, with forward by our buddy, Artie Lang. Jokeland.com for more. Let's bring him in. Jackie, the Jokeman Martling. What's up, pal? How are you?
Well, first thing I'm going to say is I guess I can't goof on the opening of your podcast because you already did that. And then you just proceed to speak for about 7 or 8 minutes. I have absolutely no idea what the hell you're talking about. I don't know. The first guy, I forgot his name already because I'm old. But the worst part of Don Rickles' act was at the end when he apologized to everybody for how funny he was. So if you guys are breaking each other's balls, for Christ's sakes, don't let the audience in on that. The hell with them if they can't figure it out. You know, people used to think that me and Robin Quivers really didn't like each other, and then eventually they figured out we really did.
It's a classic misdirect.
There you go. And that is my job. That is my job. I am doing a charity show, and I just want to say that because I never do that. Me and my stand-up memories.
Charity or a show?
No, a charity show. We're getting bigger and bigger. It's the Italian American Club in Oyster Bay. And it's to benefit Orchestai Farms, which is a dear friend of mine. Her and her husband have a farm, and all the people that work the farm are neurologically challenged and autism, and it's just an amazing thing they do. And you know, everybody said do a show in Oyster Bay, and I said I cannot do a show in Oyster Bay and charge people to see me tell the jokes they've heard me tell since 4th grade. Everybody in Oyster Bay knows my act better than me. I said, but you know what? We can charge them $50 if it's for a sponsor. So August, what's this month? April 13th. That's a week from Thursday. Just about 2 weeks from now, April 13th, 8 p.m. at the Italian American Club in Oyster Bay, and Jokeland.com has the link. I just want to put in a nice plug for that because somebody's sure to come on here and say, I heard some lie that Jackie's doing something for charity because it's so hard to believe. But it's nice to be in. I can't follow. I know Shuli is rolling like a freight train. He keeps adding all these podcasts, and this guy's on that podcast, and that guy has this podcast. I don't know who the hell can follow what the hell he's doing, but congratulations to him, what the hell he's doing. And you, I got to go back and look at my old joke books because Dombrowski was a name that I used like generically.
Oh, really?
In Polish jokes. Yes, Stukowski and Dombrowski. I think Stukowski was my number one go-to, and Dombrowski was the other one. You know, it's really funny because in a lot of my jokes, I used to use the name Schmidlap, which I thought was like a Mad Magazine name or something. It's just a funny name, Schmidlap. And about a year ago, I found out that the mayor of Center Island, which is just down the street from me, it's like the most exclusive, most expensive real estate in the world, with like Billy Joel and Rupert Murdoch and all these people live there. And the mayor of Center Island is Mayor Schmidlap. And I think I wonder how many years the guy thinks I've been breaking his balls. That's totally coincidence, you know. Not
you're
that
never
any
gonna
of
get
that
on
is
the
interesting.
Yeah, you're never gonna get on the town board now.
No, yeah, I can hardly get in there. Listen, I don't know if you can hear all that slamming and screaming and shooting, but I got Blue Bloods at my house this week.
Are they really?
They're filming a big hunk of the season finale here.
Oh, no shit.
And I'm so embarrassed because I've never seen one. I should look at least one episode so I can say, hey, you know, I really love when you put on that hat or something, you know.
Sure. But, did you ask if you could do a 2-for-1 with the victims?
They, you know, I had sex with the girl that's the location scout, and after that, I didn't want to ask any questions, you know, because I found out it was a guy, and then I realized you're not allowed to talk about that. So
sure.
You know, the hell with it.
I did hear they're calling your penis crass services now.
Well, I tried that and I got caught, so I wouldn't suggest it. It is great though. They pay you a lot of money and they're so polite and they're really nice. And it's really my deck furniture. I don't know if I should say my deck furniture. I've been so attached to it for 30 years. It's a teak set, and I've never taken it out of the rain. And it's in such bad shape. But I don't know about you, but I get attached to stuff like that. It's like throwing out your underwear or your old T-shirts. And they said, "Can we throw away this garbage?" And I'm like, and they said, "You know what? We'll replace it." They got rid of my old teak set and they replaced my deck furniture. I said, "Oh man, that's so nice." They said, "Well, you could keep it." So I'm not only getting paid. Nice. I guess I'm getting tip deck furniture. It's like a table and chairs and a couple Adirondack. It's. I'm like anybody. I don't care if somebody gives you $3 million. If they turn around and slip you something for free behind their back, that's what's exciting. So I can't say what I'm talking about is very exciting, but it's certainly as good as you trying to explain all those networks. I'm sure everybody's at least as confused as I am. And don't call my joke line today because it's unplugged. So I do get a call every 3 or 4 weeks on my joke line, and I'd hate that to interrupt just when somebody's about to stab somebody.
Dave Dallafor says, "I've never throw that back up, Joe." Dave Dallafor says, "I've never complained about my crap being read. I was married once, so I'm used to being ignored." That's fair. Look, Dave, we're going to send Jackie doing charity. No way. We're going to send Blue Bloods over to your place afterwards just so you can get a freebie. Jackie, how big is your deck? Chris Abels wants to know.
8 inches, and that's folded in half.
See, what he did, Chris, was an E for an I. Big Daddy Dodo 199. Jackie, what do you consider your greatest joke?
The last one, I got to laugh.
So the deck one.
My favorite joke in my act, and I know he doesn't even want to hear it, but I don't care because when you do your act, you're supposed to love it all, and I just tell old jokes, and I've been telling them for 60 years, and I just enjoy it. But there are places you get to that after a while you realize it brings a smile to your face. And when I get to this, the girl goes to the gynecologist and she's, "Doc, I'm freaking out. I keep finding postage stamps from Costa Rica in my vagina." And he examines me. He says, "Lady, those aren't postage stamps. Those are the stickers from bananas." Which is just the greatest joke in the world. Just the great. I see women in the audience that are so mad at themselves for laughing at that, which is really great. Really great.
That's the best. I love that reaction. The push and the pull, the push you away and then the pull you back with the laugh is the best type of stand-up, I think. For people that do want to call the line, what's your joke line?
It really is down right now, but it's 516-922-WINE. Oh, I got a great story about it. 516-922-9463. I started the line in 1979. Me and Richie Minervini, do you know that name? He's a comic,
no.
a Long Island comic. Well, he works the cruise ships, but he's the guy who started the East Side Comedy Club on Long Island, which was the very first Long Island Comedy Club. And that grew out of a show that him and I did. And there was no place to do comedy on Long Island. There was only a variety showcase at Richard M. Dixon's White House Inn. And that's where I met Eddie Murphy and Bob Nelson and Rob Bartlett. And all of us were a gang. But the Richard M. Dixon, I don't know if you know this. He literally was a guy who had a club called Richard M. Dixon's White House Inn. And he literally had his face surgically altered to make him look like Richard M. Nixon. And that is not a lie. It's so funny. Nowadays, nobody's heard of it. So it makes it harder and harder to believe. But it was real. And he wouldn't pay us. So we found a club that will let us get up and tell jokes and let us charge at the door. And we get the door and they get the drinks. And I said, how the hell are we going to advertise this? And I got the bright idea. I'll get a phone line and I'll tell a dirty joke and then say where the show is and then tell another. Everybody's going to call to hear the jokes. And stay on, it's the basic premise of advertising. Just like radio, like television, you give them a little content and you give them an ad, and you give them content, give them an ad. So it's way too long a story, but it eventually, the word of it got to Rick Dees, who was the Los Angeles drive time disc jockey in 1980. He's still out there. He's major, but he had the #1 drive time Los Angeles radio show. And he also had a syndicated radio show way back. And, way back then, he would literally send LPs, wax discs, to all of his affiliates. So if Z100 was one of his clients, they would get discs. So on Saturday or Sunday, when the regular disc jockeys weren't there, they would play the Rick D's weekly top 40. It was one of those like, hey, this week coming in at number 40, right. The Rolling Stones. Oh, hey, now number 39 coming in by Jay and the Americans, blah, blah, blah. And he used to call 922-WINE. He found out about 516-922-WINE and started putting my jokes on his radio show. And I didn't know about it, but it's a whole long story how it all came about, how I found out about it. And at one point he called me up and said, listen, the jokes have gotten too dirty. Will you do some jokes specifically for me? And I said, sure. And he said, all right, I'll call you Wacky Dentist from Encino. And I said, that doesn't help me.
How about Larry the Cable Guy?
Exactly the same thing. So he calls me back the next day and he says, how about this? You're Jackie the Jokeman, the guy from New York that knows all the jokes.
Ah.
And I said, so Rick Dees is the guy that named me Jackie the Jokeman. Now, the reason I'm telling you the story is Blue Bloods is shooting here today. And I've never seen it, but I guess the superstar of the show is Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
And Rick Dees, when he used to play my joke line, he used to tell his audience that 516-922-9463 was Tom Selleck's home phone number. And so the #1 guy, and I'm telling everybody that's here, I'm like, please ask Selleck if he ever heard that story. I imagine on some level it had to leak back to him, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether he'd say, I never heard that's bullshit, or whether he'll say, oh, I've heard about that for 40 years, So
the amount of people that told me how filthy of a mouth I've had over the years. Dave Dalper said, a Polish guy and Jackie in the same room. This is a dream come true. I'm one of his Dombrowski jokes come true, Dave. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely. I love it.
I worked with, the last time I worked with Bob Nelson, I've worked with him a bunch of times. He's a really, really nice guy.
Very good guy. Now, how recently? Because he had some very severe health problems.
Oh, I didn't know that. 2019 New Year's is probably the last time I worked with him. And
that recently? Really?
Yeah.
He's been in bad shape for a long time,
Or maybe, was it 2018? 2019, somewhere around there.
Well, at any rate, he was in bad shape, and he's just about come out of it, I'm pretty sure. We had, to the point where we actually had me and Bartlett and the guys did a whole big benefit for him at Governor's, like it was
Jesus Christ.
Whole serious thing,
Yeah. Well, we were doing...
I'm trying to get people to throw a benefit for me because I haven't had a hard on in about a year and a half.
Guys, if you want to send in chats, I'll send them directly to Jackie's hard on. We really will. We'll start a whole Blue Chew. We'll do an account for you.
I will show you. Well, I'll show you some of it.
Is it before or after the pills?
What pills?
Oh, I don't know. The super chat. Jackie's hard on.
Did you
516-922-9463. No, you know what? I haven't. I think I've been lucky enough where I pace myself once every 2 years, so I don't need a pill. It's just about time by the time I go for it.
I finally had to try. I took 4 of them and only 3 of them worked. No, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's funny. I went to Brazil with a bunch of friends, and we went to one of these wacky girl joints, and I was banging everybody up, down, and out, and all the girls were like saying to my friends, "Boy, your friend's unbelievable! I can't believe it." Is that? And they're all asking, "Is he taking pills? Is he taking pills?" No, they couldn't believe it. And then 3 years later, I told my friend, "Hey, Toby, I had a bottle full of pills. I might as well stuff them in the hole of my dick."
Jackie was actually giving out suppositories the whole weekend. It was crazy.
Absolutely. You go in one way, come out the other. I didn't care.
So Bob, the last time I saw Bob, we were doing a theater, and the first couple of acts did not get the crowd. I was just about to record. So this had to be 2018, actually. I was just about to record. So my hour was very tight. I think I was doing 30 before him. And it was one of those shows where I was like, man, I wish we were recording this one. And this was the one I was going to put out. And I saw Bob on the side of the stage, and he was very happy that the crowd finally came around. And then after I got off stage, the PA picked up and said, we're going to take a quick intermission. And then we'll be back with Bob Nelson.
Those stories, nobody, me and Bales talk about this on our podcast. You get a bunch of comics around. Nobody sits around and talks about the great shows they had. They talk about tripping and the microphone going up your ass or somebody throwing up, I got a guy that I've known for 5 years, and to this day I call him Raffles because he did a show and he put 3 openers on before me, and the 3 openers, one sucked worse than the other. And then before he's ready to bring me up, he did a raffle. He did where they pulled the names out of the hat. I was so pissed off, I almost went home. But those stories are so fun. I got a gig way in the beginning, like 20, 30, however many years ago. There was it might even still be the beautiful vaudeville house in Poughkeepsie called The Chance. And I got asked to open for War. And this was the band War that was Eric Burden and the Animals. That Eric Burden, it was Eric Burden and War, but this was War without Eric Burden. All right. But it was about 10 black guys, and they were so great. And they must have had anything you could knock together was on that stage to make noise, Yeah. And it was a real shit show. But I went up and bombed beyond bombing. But by the end of my 25 minutes, I got the gist of what they would laugh at and what they wouldn't. And by the end, I'm like, you know what? I got this.
Yeah.
This is how, how you have to play with your own head or you'd go crazy. I got this.
Sure.
The show's over. I go out. I'm having a few beers, and I'm ready for them. I'm going to get the second audience, right? And after we're sitting there for a few minutes, the PA, of course, due to light sales, everyone is invited to remain for the next show, which is comedy hell.
Come on.
I just drank. I don't know what I did that night. I don't know how I got home. You're invited to stay. You're invited to stay and not laugh at the same joke. Oh God! But I remember brutal. That. If the next night, if I had a great show somewhere the next night, I have no memory of it. But that's fun.
For sure. Fun. So, I think that's what comics are striving to get to. Big Daddy Dodo says Jackie needs a show on the Shuli Network. I agree. I think we should look, Jackie, if you're looking for someone to harbor the deal, look no further. I could text Shuli right now if you need his contact info.
I got Shuli's contact info on my foot. Like I love the Shul, man. I love the Shul, man.
Best.
I don't even know. You never know. I always have so many deals in the works. And it seems the minute I mention them, they go under. But the truth is, I have so many deals in the works that never go anywhere. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with me mentioning them. I'm sure that's just stupid. But I met this great, great, great guy who has this ridiculously wonderful website called EarthCam. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I think I have.
Earthcam.com. He's got a camera on so many places. And when I first met him, I met him after a screening, like a Sony Pictures Classic screening. With the party afterwards, my friend Tom, who's like the president of the Sony Classics, says, you got to meet this guy, Brian. I meet this guy, Brian, and he's an immense fan. And I don't care if you're president of the United States or a supermodel or something. The people that were big fans of the Stern Show and ate through everything. They loved us, the George Clooney's and people like that. They hailed us,
Mm-hmm.
And I met this guy, and the first thing he showed me, you might have seen it. It's a 2.5 minute video of One World Trade Center being built. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
You people, I'm sure you're all sitting by your computers. Not now, but after the show, go to EarthCam, One World Trade, whatever the combination of stuff you have to put. It's a stop motion. Literally, in 2.5 minutes, you see the entire building get built, and it's flabbergasting. And that's kind of where he started. This guy, I went to see him the other day. He's so interesting. I couldn't stand it. He spent 4 years managing Larry Bud Melman. Okay.
Oh, holy shit.
And but now he's a gazillionaire, and he's got all these. And the first thing I saw on his page, he's got a 24/7 camera on the Abbey Road crosswalk.
That's funny.
And I literally almost got killed there. Did I talk to you about this last time I was on?
No, were you protesting the Beatles?
I should have been. We broadcast for a week from Abbey Road Studios. You know, the Stern Show.
Yeah.
We were in London for the Princess Trust concert, and it was huge. Like, it was in the 1990s, and like Elton John and Eric Clapton, and you couldn't name the people that were on the show. And I remember we're up in the catacombs doing interviews, and I'm sitting. It's me and Howard and Robin, and sitting across from us were the 3 Bee Gees. And they sang a cappella 2 feet away from it. It was like my heart on was scratching my chin. I know, because Robin kept grabbing for it. But, we would broadcast, and then me and Fred would go around the corner to the pub to have a few beers. And I'm sure it was the pub that Lennon or McCartney, where they'd go,
Yeah.
But in England, the traffic goes the other way, okay? And if you look, that Abbey Road crosswalk, that is a small road, okay? Mm-hmm. And there's no shoulder. And the traffic comes flying. There's a slight curve come flying around the corner. Now, if you're crossing the road like a good little boy, you look to the left, you look to the right, then you do a cursory glance back to the left, and you cross the road. But you're in England. So We're standing there. So I look to the left, look to the right, look to the left quickly. And as I go to step out, Fred Norris, the other writer, grabs me. I swear to God on my mother, grabs me by the scruff of my neck and yanks me back. And a bus went flying past my nose. And I was like, holy Christ. And I'm telling Brian this story. He said he gets calls all the time for the footage.
Yeah.
Because so many people get hit there. Because I guess a lot of people in England, the same thing happens.
Oh, that makes sense.
Nowadays, they say that they've got it written right on the sidewalk. Look both ways, be very careful. But what a place to die.
For sure.
Jokeman smashed to death on a London bus, trying to be a Beatle, But go to earthcam.com. It's just, this guy's phenomenal. Oh, the point is, he might put a 24/7 camera
on you?
Jokeland, right in my room here. Have you ever seen this stupid room of mine?
I saw you sent me a video a couple weeks ago of all the shit that you got going on up there.
Yeah, it's great fun. So maybe we do an Earth Cam. We'll put that on the Shuli network.
I would love a 24/7 camera of just you in your office. Like, what would be fine?
There'll be nothing. I mean, he's got one on a stage in New Orleans, and all it is a blank stage.
Yeah.
Unless somebody comes into the bar and decides to go up and start singing or playing, which is so, you can just go online and say, hey, I'm in my office. I want to tell a few dick jokes. If you want to have a conversation,
Yeah.
As my grandmother said, it's very modern. It's very modern.
Dave wants to know, is Jackie wearing finger cots?
I have to apologize. They came out inside of your fucking mother. I didn't mean you, Dombrowski. I meant the guy who.
Sure, no, I got it. I mean, they might be. You never know. You had a wild run.
Yeah.
Did you? Hey, did you hear that the what's it called? The Friars Club shut down?
Oh, it's closed tighter than a nun's twat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so sad. It was, I don't know what you're allowed, the mob infiltrated, and it just sucked all the life out of it. And, I love that. I was a member from my sponsor at the Friars was Freddie Roman, who was the actual dean.
Yeah.
For like 30 or 40 years. He recently passed away. He was a great character. And I didn't live there, but I'd go there for lunch, and I'd take guys with me for lunch. And it's not that big a deal, but when somebody comes in from out of town.
Oh, sure.
And they're like, can you take me to the Friars Club? And it's like, it's really impressive to people. You know what I mean? It's like
It is.
because it's so steeped in so much great history. You know.
Well, that's exactly it. And there's memorabilia all over the wall. It's for a comic. It's the closest you would feel to at home at like a country club type of thing, where
it's a country club without a tennis court and without a golf course.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's just like Jackie looks younger than Bob. Poor Bob Levy.
Is he? I didn't even see him. Is he here?
Bob is on the network. Guys, if you want to send Bob a link and he wants to join on, bring him on. But yeah, so the Friars Club, for those that haven't been there, you know, it's like the Billy Crystal Bar, and then there's the Jackie Mason showroom, or there's all these alumni.
The Milton, there was the Milton Berle room, and there was Joey Lewis Bar. They tried to there was a classic guy that used to play Frank Sinatra records, you know, even when Frank Sinatra was down and out, William B. Williams or whatever his name was, and they changed it to the Billy Crystal Bar. And meanwhile, Billy Crystal was, you know, he's a great guy, but maybe he was at the Friars Club once in his life. You know, they take out all the classic stuff, like they made the Joey Lewis Bar, the Lucille Ball Bar, and she was never there in her life, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just great. There was Ed Sullivan room. It was a card room, and there were pictures of Ed Sullivan with everybody you could name standing on his show. You know, it's just all these classic black and white, and the black and white pictures that ring the whole club. What was so great about him? It was so random, the combinations, you know, like Liz Taylor and Muhammad Ali, you know, and Herb Belishays and Matt, and Fess Parker, you know, like crazy stuff. And we had fun. I had so much fun there. You know?
It was a very cool environment. I co-wrote on a couple of roasts that I got to see there. A couple performances in like that little side room. It's so funny because the crowd that comes out to them are like, I mean, it's like they wheel the nursing home out into the cafeteria and then they go, all right, now entertain them. And you're like, this woman's wearing a mink from when it was alive.
I got so many great stories. I mean, there's a whole thing with me, the Friars and the roast. I didn't get on till way late in my friardom, and that's a whole long story that I would never even go into. But I was on the dais. They had a roast for Hugh Hefner, and it was right after 9/11, and they canceled it, and they set it back. I think a couple weeks, maybe a month, I don't know. But I was literally on the dais because I wasn't speaking, but I had to be on the dais because people were afraid to fly. They didn't want to fly from Los Angeles. So they needed people to fill a seat. So I'm sitting there and I'm on my way in. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I started scribbling jokes on the way in.
Right.
And when we got to the green room, I said, hey, I got a bunch of jokes here if anybody wants them, because I'm not speaking. And I gave Gilbert like 4 jokes. And he used 4 of my jokes in his famous set that ended with him doing the Aristocrats. That's on the Aristocrats movie. Okay. Because he started doing jokes. And then he did a joke about, stopping at the Empire State Building with next flight or something, and everybody too soon. So you're sitting there, you saw the wheels in his mind go, all right, well, what do you want? I'll give you that. And he started the Aristocrats. And I remember from where I was sitting, Rob Schneider was right there, and you saw his eyes spin in his head when he realized Gilbert was doing that. But Gilbert, one of the jokes I gave Gilbert wound up being the promo for the roast, for the television promo of the roast, because it was a dirty joke, but it was clean enough for TV. And it was a Hugh Hefner roast. And the joke was, Hugh Hefner is so old that his first condom was made out of bark. Which is just the perfect joke. Just the perfect
That's awesome.
Really fun.
There you go. It's actually us right now. We're both in better shape than Levy now.
Some people don't do a good job, but that one's very realistic.
Andy, take a bow wherever your sleeveless shirt is right now.
He must have been on the phone while he was doing that. He wasn't paying attention. Jesus Christ.
I think one of my favorite jokes about Gilbert at the Friars. My buddy, actually a joint buddy of ours, Gino Bisconti, it was the George Takei roast. And he said, George, what did he say? We're at the George Takei roast, a room full of gay guys, and Gilbert Gottfried is the one that looks like he has AIDS. Or it was something to that. It was something to that extent.
Oh, that'd be a lot funnier if things didn't go the way they went. But that is
absolutely.
Unfortunately, that is a brutally funny joke.
Sure.
You talk about the old people. I finally got invited to do a roast, and I bombed so badly, but I didn't bomb with a bad joke. I bombed with a couple of great jokes, but just absolutely the wrong space and time. Like even in the beginning of those roasts, like you said, the people are 1,000 years old, let alone after they've been there for a while. Except once again, I got lucky because one of my jokes went around the world on AP because it was a roast for Don King. And the master of ceremonies was Trump, which this was so long ago. It had nothing to do with anything today.
Sure.
But I knew him from him coming on the show. But my opening line that got it was on every newspaper and every story about the show was like, "Hey Don, I think Mike Tyson is still a little upset with you." Oh, at least that's what he told me while he was parking my car, which is just a great shot. But I did a very, very classic joke. One of the classic jokes of all time that's been told in a million different ways, and it all leads up the same place. But unfortunately, just like the Aristocrats, people know the joke by the punchline. You can't go up to somebody and say, "Tell me the joke about to get to the other side." Right. You know what I mean? Because it's a defeating purpose. But the purpose of the story is everybody's, the roast, like one-liners, boom, 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 because nobody has any attention span. So in my mind, I'm Jackie the Joke Man. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to tell a couple of goddamn jokes, okay? Yeah. Which was, looking back, you couldn't have made a worse decision. But I start telling this joke, and I hope it's worth it for the story. But the joke is it's 1958, and it's the world's championship boxing match, and the announcer comes out, and the microphone comes down and says, "Welcome to Madison Square Garden, world's championship boxing match. In this corner, we have the challenger from Sweden in the black shorts, weighing in at 220 pounds, Mr. Ingemar Johansson." And the crowd's like, yeah. And in the other corner, in the white trunks, the champion from the United States, weighing 215 pounds, our champ, Mr. Floyd Patterson. Yeah. Before we begin our bout, we have to sing the national anthem, the lovely Kate Smith. And the guy sitting ringside, now like an idiot, I'm at the podium. There's 3,000 people there. I'm at a podium. The mic's here. And I lean off the podium to represent a guy yelling from ringside, which could not be stupider. And I know better, so nobody heard. But the guy says, we have to sing the national anthem, the lovely Kate Smith. And the guy ringside goes, "Kate Smith, that fat cunt. She sucked every cock on the East Coast." And the announcer goes, "Nevertheless." so nobody laughed. But the point of the story is when I went down like this, and I'm off mic and the podium's here and I'm saying, "Kate Smith, that," as I'm saying that fat cunt, I'm staring into the eyes of Dionne Warwick. I'm 5 feet away and she's looking right at me with those, alien eyes. And I want to say, "Dionne, I love you. Don't pay attention to this joke."
You're doing well when you look at a crowd member and go, "Don't look at me during this one."
Don't look at me. But that is a classic joke that everybody loves. Everybody. In fact, Alec Baldwin named his last. He wrote a book and he named it Nevertheless. You know, it's all roads lead to Rome with that. And,
sure. I heard that was actually his defense when he was on trial. They said, you're charged with manslaughter. And he said, nevertheless, I will keep going.
Oh, that's, you know.
Mr. Dombrowski, I hate to interrupt, but we do have a couple super chats real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's throw them through.
Most of them are inside jokes. I'm not sure Mr. Martling's going to get.
Look at Jackie panicking. It's just people that want to comment stuff to you that are listening live. Jackie, didn't you write the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast? Dave Dallafor says.
I would have, but I couldn't spell his fucking name.
Carlos Danger, $5. Jackie, do you think Ray DeVito did the best he could have given the circumstances?
I really don't think he's got a brain in his head, to tell you the truth.
Joe, clip that. Jimmy, $2 says, Jackie, Gino Bisconti, comedy genius?
Who?
And one more thing, Mr. Dombrowski, I'm afraid we might tear the space-time continuum, but we have a guest backstage.
Let's do it. Bring him in. Oh, look at this guy joining in for episode 150. Look at Jackie. Jackie, if you both
is that Levy? Is that Levy's grandfather?
If you both just push your face to the screen, you'll be able to see each other. Jackie the Jokeman Martling for episode 150 of Just Joking. Special guest tuning in, the Reverend Bob Levy. I feel like, I mean, this truly is like when my grandparents meet each other. This feels like a Father of the Bride Part 5 going on right now. Levy, I didn't know that we were going to do a first look moment before you guys actually got it up to the altar. But what are you feeling right now?
I love to see Jackie. I mean, it's like Jackie helped me so much at the beginning. Like, and if it wasn't for Jackie, I would have probably walked away from this because it was tough. Like, he named me after my second show because I bombed so bad and they were offended by me so awfully that he went up and he didn't know what to say to get the audience back. And he goes, "Hey, how about a hand for the Reverend?" Just as to break the ice. And I mean, it was
Levy.
Yeah.
You suck. You were disgusting. I was trying to discourage you. I was trying to encourage you. I was hoping we'd never fucking see you again. I said to Danny at the door, I said, well, I guess I polished him off. And then he fucking showed up again. No, of course, you know, it was too dirty for them, but it was early in the game. What did they know? You know, you were funny and you were fine, you know.
Also,
and I was so dirty, it was great to have somebody else take the heat, you know.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
With the amount of wives he had, you should have gone with the Rabbi Bob Levy instead of the Reverend. It would have made way more sense for his career.
Well, you know what's great is if somebody out there, if all your listeners, both of them, if anybody has,
they're right here. They're right here, Jackie. Just say it to us.
There's one now. I came in.
A 3/4-inch video player. A 3/4-inch video player. I have the videos of all those Tuesday nights at Rascals.
Oh, wow.
All those, and I'm sure you're on some of them, Levy. I would love to see what they look like. I mean, it was a lot. 1985. Is that right?
86, probably. I think it started. I started.
Now you were there pretty often, right?
I was there every Tuesday. Danny would give me a number so he make sure I get on. And
all right, so we got to get somebody to play those and see, because if one of them will play, they'll all play. I mean, I got them all up there, and they'd be funny. It was a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. Like, even when you hosted the open mic, it was a lot of people in the club. Like, it was an amazing time for comedy around then.
Well, it was I'm a finagler. That's my job. Much better finagler than I am comedian. And I was on the Howard Stern show every Tuesday, but I didn't get paid. But I would go in and he would promote whatever I was doing, which was a pretty nice thing. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm in Manhattan. I'm halfway to South Orange or West Orange, West Orange.
Yeah.
So I said to Mark at Rascals, I said, look, I'm on the radio every Tuesday. If I said I'm going to be at Rascals tonight, I bet you we'd get a decent crowd. Why don't we just do an open mic night and I'll host it. I'll announce it on the Stern show. You give me a couple $100. Even if nobody shows up, it's worth the money just to get plugged on the 50,000 watt channel. And it wound up being great. Well, we had a lot of comedians, Levy, right? Weren't there like 10 or 20 comics every
Oh
week?
no, there was like 35 to 40, and they had to. That's why you had to, after a while they picked numbers to go on. We had to pick numbers, but he let Danny let who we wanted to be up. He'd say, "Okay, you're going to be 5 or 7." You know.
Yeah,
And,
we had him on as a podcast
yeah.
guest, and I think we did like 3 or 4 shows with him. I mean, he's great. He was the door guy, but he wasn't just the door guy. He was like the main guy, the main talent coordinator at Rascals, and he's still just a character. Danny McKenna, if you're out there, we love you. We love you.
Yeah.
Jimmy says for 550, Jackie, can an in-ground pool be completed in 4 weeks?
Geez.
Asking for a friend. ... Bob Levy.
Oh, stop.
Now, see that, Levy? I had no idea that's what you're doing now, putting in underground pools.
Yeah, no. I'm getting one in my house. I'm not putting them in. If I put them in, they would never be here.
What are you gonna do after the show today? Rob a bank?
He's got a 5 days or money back guarantee. It's the best in the business.
No, it's supposedly it's 4 weeks to put in, and I'm gonna enjoy it because I need it for since the car accident I fucked up some of my body, so by swimming it'll help me out, I think.
Now don't just drop that like I have any idea what's going on. He was in a car accident.
Yeah,
he was, but his act outs have never been better, Jackie.
Jesus Christ. Well, I feel bad you were in a car accident.
Oh, no. Well, it's okay now, after I look back at it and get back into the business again, even though I was never in it.
No, wait. Now, how bad was this accident? I mean, I have to assume it was your fault.
No, I wish it was. I was at a red light and I got hit from behind by somebody that was drunk.
Why would you stop at a red light?
Exactly.
He was drunk.
I was drunk. My beer spilled, so I had to stop. No, but it added.
That's the greatest old joke with the 2 guys are driving along, and the guy goes zooming through a red light, and the guy riding shotgun can't believe it. And the next time he goes zooming through a red light, and the other guy says, "What are you doing driving through red lights?" He says, "Relax. My brother drives like this." And they're going a little further, and all of a sudden they come to a green light, and he stops. And the guy said, "Why'd you stop?" He says, "My brother might be coming." Which is the stupidest fucking joke. But it's the only red light joke I had. Give me a break. What are you smoking? Levy, why would you be smoking?
I'm the funny thing is I smoke. And my lungs are totally clear. I had to go and get tested for the neck surgery, and my heart is good. It's amazing that I'm actually
neck surgery. So I guess the guy hit you pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean it was just like 35 from behind, So yeah, it jolted me.
Matt Zizzo says, "Great joke. This guy with the plaid shirt is almost as fun as Artie."
I think I can tweak this a little bit and make it a little better.
That's what happened.
I'm just going to tweak the stream a little bit to improve things. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. So now we got rid of him. Now, like we were saying, yeah, but everything's great now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No. What is that voice from nowhere? Is that Don Pardo?
Yeah.
It's from the open mic at Rascals in the Rubble.
Great times. Well, Levy, really I'm sorry you got hurt. I'm glad you.
Oh no, I'm fine now. I'm doing great. Life is good again. Once you get your ass kicked like that, everything is good. After that, so I'm happy.
No, I understand. I understand. You have some near misses.
Mm-hmm.
It wakes you up. It's like you wake up one day and you're 75 and you're like, what?
Exactly. I don't even know where the 2000s went.
Bob, is that tomorrow? When is that for you?
What?
When you wake up and you're 75.
Oh, shut the fuck up. It's coming soon. But look, I don't even know where. I remember the 1990s, but I don't remember 2005, 2010. Like, I don't know where the fuck this came from, all this shit. And just.
Memory is so crazy because me and Peter Bales, they asked me to do a podcast on this Titan Media, whatever you call it, media place. And I said, all right. I said, I can't sit there and yak by myself.
Mhm.
I'm not built to do that. I said, you know what? Why don't I'll talk to Peter Bales. He's my old friend. He started in 1979 at the comic strip. He was the regular MC with Seinfeld and Larry Miller and Dennis Wolfberg and Paul Reiser, that whole gang. He was part of Carol Leifer. And he's the guy that talked me into coming into the city and got me passed at the comic strip, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought him to be my guest, and he wound up being my co-host, and we did 25 shows before we had a guest. We just couldn't shut up. We went on, but it turns out you remember everything about the first year or two,
Yeah.
and the rest of it is a fucking blur.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 43 years. I know everything I did in 79, 80, 81, all the Jim Balazzos gigs and all the shows I produced and going to the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale and all the bad gigs. It's so funny. I remember everything so well. And I got invited to go to the party after, what was the name of the movie that had the sequel? Grown Ups. There was a Grown Ups 2. And they had the party at PJ O'Rourke's afterwards. So I went there, and Chris Rock was there, and David Spade was there, and Kevin James was, all the guys in the movie. I was with Richie Minervini. He was in the movie too.
Okay.
And I knew all those guys, but I never met Sandler before. So here's my opportunity. So I go up and say, Adam, Jackie Martling, it's nice to finally meet you. He says, we met before.
Yeah.
He said, I opened up for you at one of those bar rooms in the early 80s. And I remember every single person I ever worked with. That's a fine guy to forget.
Exactly.
No kidding.
He must have been so crappy that I forgot about
So
it.
you're not going to be in Grown Ups 3 is what you're saying.
In fact, they had written it already, and he ripped it up right in front of me.
I have.
No, yeah, he's a swell guy, really good guy.
When I first started, which was sometime around last week, it's almost a week and a half now. Levy used to book
At what
a room,
point did you change your name to Dombrowski?
right after I read a couple of your jokes, honestly.
Then you owe me.
I'll send you some of the super chat money. Levy used to book this room back when I started. It was Cha-Cha's on Mulberry.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. This room.
Cha-Cha, like in the mayor of Little Italy, Cha-Cha?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he was a pal.
He's a good guy. He was.
Yeah.
Karen, his wife, the
I don't know.
blonde.
I met her maybe once.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
but-
She's a good friend with Joey Reynolds and blah, blah, blah. That whole gang down, they were a piss of those people down.
Oh, that you sat down at the
So
table
go ahead.
and just
I
left.
the story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's all good.
You made it better.
We were laying the land. So Levy was booking this room, and it was like one of those things where he's just getting all of his friends to get everything going together. And then, like, whatever young comic is around, he's like, hey, do you want to do Florentine? Or I worked with Otto and George one day there. And he was like, I have me and Colin Quinn going this weekend. Do you want to open? And I was like, perfect. Now, at that moment, I had maybe 5 minutes of material, and I was an all crowd work guy. And the booker, this guy, I think he's passed since, James DiNapoli or something that.
He's dead, yeah.
Yeah, he was the other guy. So he, which I can't believe you outlived him. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe you said he passed. He's dead.
Trying to be respectful of your elders. So Levy and this guy are booking, and the guy makes me audition with 5 minutes over the phone. He goes, "What do you do?"
Are you serious?
I swear to God. He goes, "Give me."
Levy made you audition.
No.
or the other guy?
No. Because I wouldn't have done that for Levy because he would have.
You upset him. You upset him. What the fuck?
Yeah, look, Jackie, if you're going to be back on the show, give us 5 minutes just so we know what you do for the rest of the show.
I gotcha.
So the guy made me audition. I did like one joke, and the guy was like, all right, you're all good. And he goes, do me a favor. He goes, don't talk to the crowd. And I was like, I kind of do that a lot when I perform. And he was like, because I had no material, but he was also like, they're mobbies or Italian guys. You don't want to make fun of the wrong guy down there.
Yeah.
So
which is everybody in the audience.
100%. Yeah. So just don't talk. Just look. So it's me, Levy, and Colin Quinn. And I go up first. I go through 5 minutes of material in a minute and a half. I completely blow through the set. So I go to talk to the audience, And I remember I can't, but I see Tony Danza because Cha-Cha used to manage him as a boxer. And Tony Danza is looking so confused, and I just want to fuck with him. And I can't. So I look over, and there was, Bob, do you remember next to the stage, there was a window, and you could see out in like the little bar area outside.
Yeah.
So I see Bob and Colin talking, and I start fucking with them, and they start laughing at me. So to me, I'm like a year into comedy, whatever. I'm like, this is like the greatest night of my life, right? So I get off stage, I fucking eat it. Someone's like, how long have you worked with Bob and Colin? And everyone's like talking me up. Colin came over and goes, someone had to take the bullet, and it wasn't going to be me or Bob, but you handled it perfectly. He was like, he was such a nice dude to me. Levy was like, you should have been able to do what you always do. Fuck that promoter. Come back tomorrow and do double the time and do what you do. You don't tell a comic not to do what they do. So I come in the next day, and I'm fucking fired up, right? Colin Quinn says hi to me. I have like friends here. They're like, Colin, like all this like crazy shit when I start. And so I get up. I have the set of my fucking life up till that point. Crush. Get off stage. Levy's like, that's how you fucking do it. Colin Quinn was like, good recovery, blah, blah, blah. So and Tony Danza was there, right? So I'm thinking it's going to be one of those moments like this is like my big shot, right? So there's a recession line of like everyone's like taking pictures with Colin Quinn. Tony Danza walks up to Levy, and Levy goes, I could teach you stand up in 2 minutes. And he goes, sign up with me. I'll teach you stand up. Levy's selling t-shirts. He goes, I got one left. I'm trying to buy a hooker. Come on, folks. What do you think? And then Tony Danza comes up to me, and I'm thinking it's going to be like my redemption story or like my big celebrity moment. I go to shake Tony Danza's hands. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He tilts his head and he just goes, tough room, kid.
I thought you were going to say he punched you. That's what I was hoping. Oh, that's,
the funny thing is, you weren't allowed to talk like Cha-Cha would say, whatever, Cha-Cha. He would say, don't bother Tony. Let him. He's here to enjoy himself. We tell the comics, don't go over and bother him. Don't say hello. You know what I mean? He's just here to have a good time. And somebody went up to him and said hello to him. And Cha-Cha grabs him and he goes, what did I fucking tell you? Did I tell you not to fucking just leave him alone?
You look at him and you think that he's got a confused look on his face. And then you realize every picture, everything you've ever seen with Tony Danza in it, he looks confused because he's confused. He's not faking that. No,
he might be punch drunk. Dave Dallafor says, can we play Stump the Jokeman?
No.
But Tony was a nice guy. He's a great guy. He was like a lot of fun, once you got to know him. He was
he's very, I'm being an asshole. He's always a nice guy at the Friars Club,
Yeah.
But that's one of those places where everybody's friendly to each other. Anybody that wasn't friendly to people there was somebody who was so insecure that they didn't belong there in the first place,
Yeah.
And Cha-Cha was gruff, like you had the crack inside of that. Do you ever do that show they had on Sirius?
No. I was probably banned from the. I was banned from the building.
and Steve Sharippa and Uncle Floyd played the piano.
It was great. I used to see them.
Joe, there was like 6 or 8 of them, and it was the most horrific. They were all such nice guys, but they knew nothing about radio, and they just all talked at the same time. And I'd look over and say, Floyd, just play something, to give some music to this noise, But they're all nice, they're all crazy. Joe, you guys know who Joey Reynolds is, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he followed us. I always say us. He followed Howard Stern on NBC after Howard got fired, and he's been around forever. And he had a show for years and years and years, like 12 to 4 on WOR, and in 12 a.m., to 4 in the morning. It's horrendous. But you meet everybody. I met so many people because everybody, just getting on the air in New York was so fun. But I go down there and he would go on and on and on, and I would finally say something rude or dirty or something funny to try and I'm sorry, Joey. I'm just trying to keep your audience awake, But the first time he invited me there, they had all this food from Lamella. Okay, and there was like shrimp, and there was pizza and meatballs, and I'm like, wow, this is so great. I can't believe it. Turned out that was a once in a lifetime thing. Must have been Joey's birthday. So then we're meeting for the first time. I say, you know, Joey, one thing I've always wanted to do. When I was a kid, I used to go to the Mary the K shows at the Brooklyn Paramount, the Brooklyn Fox. And it was so great because Mary the K would have a show when I was in 7th or 8th or 9th grade. And on his show, there would be 10 performers, and they'd be the 10 performers that had the top 10 records that you were hearing on the radio. And I thought it was so amazing that he could get them.
Mhm.
But that's not how it worked. The way it worked was if you wanted your record played on the radio, you fucking well did Mary's show. And, you know, that's
the way
how
it
it
should.
worked. And I said, and I always wanted to do a show about the Mary the K shows and how great it was. And he said, well, that's such a coincidence because all this food here. I said, yeah. He said, this is from a place called Lamella, which is Italian for the apple. And that's owned by Frankie C. And Frankie C is called, his name, he passed away, but his name is Frankie C because he didn't want to use his last name because either his father or his uncle was the guy who got blown away in front of Sparks Steakhouse.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that
Oh,
famous
shit.
hit?
Yeah.
Frank, I think it was Castellano. Is that his last name?
Castellano. Yeah.
Frankie. So he was known as Frankie C. And he said, Frankie C sends all this food over to us. And Frankie C, 30, 40 years ago, was Mary the K's bag man. He would literally walk into a record company with a paper bag and say, you want Murray to play your record? And he'd hold out the paper bag and they'd fill it with cash. I mean, that's how it worked back then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what were the odds of that? Yeah, and I got to be good friends with Frankie. He was a great character. So it's just like he weighed 400 pounds, you know. All those guys, they're so intimidating. And then once you get to know them, they're all sweethearts,
Exactly.
you know, like Big Pussy and all those guys.
Yeah.
You know, a girl made a movie. And you guys would know this girl. What the hell? Oh, God damn. You would know her. She's made a bunch of movies. She's an Italian girl. She's good looking. She used to be a model, and she makes these little movies. And she made some weird movie that had me and Big Pussy in it, you know, Vinny Pastore. And she's a very religious girl. And it was a thing. You guys probably know this, that if you're selling your house and you're Italian, you take a statue of Joseph and you bury it upside down in your yard. And that's good luck. I never heard that
really?
in my life. But
Yeah.
I guess it's a pretty common thing. You bury Joseph upside down and then you sell your house. Blah, blah. So in this movie, somebody buried the statue upside down, and then this, 40,000 people in line to buy the house. And they're all one weirder than the other. And that's the theme of the movie. So I'm some idiot that's going to try and buy the house. And then Big Pussy comes rolling up in some big Cadillac with all those goombas and everything like that. And I was like a clown, like I was dressed as a clown. And I had one of those flowers, right?
Yeah.
With the little ball. So when I'm talking to you, I squeeze the ball and I squirt water in your face. So Big Pussy comes up to me and I squeeze the ball and squirt water in his face, which is so funny. And I said to the girl, that is the most perfect. You will get 10 billion hits. Just put this picture of Vinny Pastore there, and I'm 2 feet away from him, and you see the flower shooting into his face, and you just call it squirting pussy. And she didn't want to do it. I said, you're out of your mind. Who the That's the funniest thing in the world, squirting pussy. And I was squirting pussy. Oh,
we should just do a show. We should do in the show on the network with Jackie just pitching ideas like that to random people. It's like the opposite of a Shark Tank. You just come up with the ideas and then you just pass them off.
Boom, boom. Hey, I forgot to say this. We've been chasing for years a documentary on me, and it's done by IKA Collective. That's owned by the guy who was. I had a radio show on Howard's Channel 101 for 8 years called Jackie's Joke Hunt.
Yeah.
And he did a documentary on me, and it was finally done just before the pandemic. So, of course, that pulled the plug on everything.
Yeah.
And then Netflix was maybe going to let us give it to them for free. And then Netflix, of course, fell apart because that's what happens to everything in my career. Artie Lang was supposed to be in the documentary. They didn't get to him. He wound up getting beat up, went into the hospital, went to jail. The fucking documentary took so long that he got well and got out. and he wound up in the documentary because it took so long. So Artie
That's
is in
right.
the thing,
Nice.
but we finally got it. We finally got it. What's it called? Not released. That's distributed. So Random Media is distributing. We actually have a date.
Wow.
You know, I hate the way the world works. I'm so old, and I've been saying, kidding around to Ian, please put out the documentary before I die, which used to be a joke. Now it's not a joke because we finally got the thing released. What I can never think of the word. And you think the next day you're going to be able to say, hey, go see it. It's not going to be released till July. It takes months and months and months for it to get in the stream. I'm like, I'm going to be dead by July. But it's called Jokeman, and it's going to be Random Media, and I think it's going to be on like a whole bunch of different platforms, and it's really fun. But you know, it's just silly, very, very random, and you guys will get a kick out of it. And we're going to have a screening, and we'll have a whole Shuli network screening.
I love that.
I'll buy you guys pizza. I'll take care of everybody.
Thanks, Dad. That'll be awesome. We'll do it around Bob's pool. We'll have a campfire.
Oh yeah. Once it's in.
And if there's no pool, we'll have the screening in the hole.
We'll just project it onto the wall of dirt. It'll be amazing. Dave Dallapour says we love Bob. Are you
trying to build a pool in the winter, you moron?
No, that's the thing. They're telling me that you can build a pool in the winter, and my guy's saying, look, it's better to do it here because you're going to run into problems and that shit in the winter. It's too cold to dig. Look, they don't believe the pool's coming. I know it's coming, and they can go fuck themselves.
You know
what are the Vegas odds on this?
It's not good in my favor, I'll tell you that. But it's supposed to be
Kevin, let's make a personal bet.
I'm down.
Okay, Labor Day. I mean, Memorial Day.
I'll bet you $100 there's no pool by July 4th.
Okay. I'm in on that action. $100 by July 4th. I don't believe it'll be in by Memorial Day, but I'll bet it'll be in by July 4th.
Okay, $100.
100%.
It will be in because I told him
I don't know who your guy is, but delete the bet from the show.
No, he said, I said May 10th I needed it because I got Perry Covello coming in, and he said it'll be in, he goes, it might be in by then. I'm not going to guarantee it, but it'll be in by Memorial Day. And I said, I got 3,000 writing on this right now. So I said, you fucking better not fuck this up.
Well, now, is this a big pool or is this like a stand up with the wooden
and above ground with shins?
Yeah. That's what I meant.
He's actually going to go swimming in scaffolding in his backyard.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Well, if it comes down to it, the bet was to be swimming by May. I will put an above one in if I have to. But no. He said, look, it takes four weeks to dig and get it's panels and that shit, and it's not a huge built-in pool. It's it's nice, you know what I mean?
And you got to leave time for your checks to clear.
What I paid him already. I paid him for that and the fence already.
He's like Dice. Wow. He doesn't pay him until he gets off the road.
No, but I know the guy. Look, I know the guy through people, so I didn't have to go through a company. It went.
Oh, that is the smartest way to do it. Do it through people.
I know. Have to go through a company.
Yeah, you don't need a pool company. I got a guy.
I got a guy for everyone, but this
a guy.
But instead of paying the pool place where you go into, that's $20,000, and they just give it to this guy. You understand? So this guy is taking over everything because I know him through.
They're taking over your money. Levy, you are no smarter than the last time I saw you in 1986. Jeez. I'm not going to say you got stupider, but that's only because you couldn't.
Here's how you make a pool in New Jersey in the winter. You buy a ticket to Florida, Bob. That's the easiest way to do it. Brent Hatley's whore wife, apologies to Brent.
Jesus Christ.
199 says, Jackie, are you still down to film content with us?
Now, hold on, go back to that one.
You don't want to.
I lost it already. It's gone. Sorry.
Who should I know who that is?
Brent was on the Stern show. Brent Hatley was on the Stern Show at the end, like recently, and he's also was with Bubba the Love Sponge for many years.
Do I know him?
Probably
I mean,
never.
I might have done a show. I don't have any idea.
You might have met him around the Joke Hunt time when they were in New York a lot filming too. With
and
Howard.
who is whore wife, or is that
Yeah.
his joke?
Well, they're swingers, but they film kind of. That wasn't her, but
No,
like they
no, no.
film. They film like sex things.
That's her name
No,
tag.
wait. Why did you take that off the screen, Dombrowski?
I don't have any control over what this production team does.
I haven't had an offer like that in so long. Of course I'll film with you. I hope you got a wide-angle lens.
Yeah. Can we do a whole Shuli release for that one too?
Yeah.
Yes, that'll be the opening. No, you know what? That might headline. My documentary can be the opening act for Jackie and Brad Headley's whore wife.
Why don't we do that as an intermission for your documentary in the pool? We'll have Brent Hadley's wife come in and you guys can film.
The hell with the film. Why don't we just put the whore wife naked behind the candy counter and, and Levy can go down on her while she's making the popcorn.
Yeah, I hear popcorn and blue cheese do actually go well together. Jimmy I550 says, Jackie, what's your secret? You were so sharp with your memory. Asking for a friend, Bob Levy and myself.
There's no secret, Jimmy. I'm just really, really smart.
Dave Dallaford cut off his legs and count the rings.
Is this me or Levy?
It's both of us.
It could be either one at this point. Rico and the Man, $10. Love you, Jokeman. When are you coming back on the Rico and the Man podcast? Great guest.
I'm so lost with this Shuli stuff. I really don't know what the fuck is up. I didn't even know your show was part of the Shuli network.
Yeah, we just
I'm
joined in.
I'm not going to go on some show and just yak about John. I have less than zero interest in that.
Yeah, that's good.
To quote Richard Belzer, physical science has yet to come up with a unit of measurement to represent how little I give a fuck about him. Okay, so and he's not that he's a bad guy. I just no interest in sitting around and then I'd rather badmouth everybody.
Exactly.
Sure. That's why this show really exists. Honestly, it's just to get whoever Uncle Rico missed. Dave Dallaford said Jackie's appearance on Zoom Court was great. Dave Dallaford also said
I don't know what is that. What is Zoom Court?
I'm not sure. They throw in money and they type in a chat that they want prioritized, and we read it and then we react from there. That's what podcasting has turned into, Jack.
I have no idea. It's all just talking to people and your brother-in-law's on the extension. That's all.
Mm-hmm. That's basically what this is.
Ask your sister what she thinks of me and let me list on the other.
I've seen your boy recently. I went to see a good friend of ours, John Peasy, and he was at the Borgata. He did his live show. He taped it and all that stuff. It was really cool.
He's such a great character. He really is a good guy.
Yeah, I'm like he's one of those guys that you meet and you're just friends with forever, and knows so much about entertainment. He cornered the private market. Now he's making a fortune off Jews, which is what you're supposed to do.
That's the Kanye West model now, Bob. You should make a fortune off of Jews. Did you guys see that, by the way? Kanye West said he's no longer anti-Semitic because he watched 21 Jump Street with Jonah Hill and he likes Jews again.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least he's not flaky.
That's true.
Jesus Christ.
I got a couple films. Look, if you want to like Jews, I got a couple films. They're called home movies. You can watch them, and I think they'll be likable.
Oh, yeah. You got to get you on Road Story. We just talk about, we had Colin on and Florentine. We just talk about, me and Shuli, we talk about the road, like how it was, how it is now, and just crazy stories. And it's like so much fun. And you do remember, you remember a lot about comedy. Like other shit, I don't like how long I've been married for. It throws me off.
Which time?
No, I don't know anything else. The only thing when people ask me anything, I used to be able to judge where it happened in my life by whether it was before I left the Stern Show or after I left the Stern Show. And before that, it was before I joined that show and after I joined that show. But now I have no, if somebody says, when did something happen? It could have been a year. It could have been 5 years. It could have been 12 years. But what about that night you bombed at Bob's shithouse in Alabama? Oh, that was May 13th.
Exactly.
You know?
That was also in Little Italy. That's what it was called, right? In Cha-Cha's Bob Shithouse. It was, it went by either name. You guys, man, you guys were a part of, I mean, the heyday of radio. Those years, Jackie, when you were doing your show on 101, Bubba was in there, Artie was on, Levy was in there every week, then the roast that you guys were doing, it truly, I mean, that's why, like, fuck doing a podcast to do anything. This is just a side note for me for doing stand-up. That's really like the love of radio and doing Sirius XM shows and podcasts and other people's shows. That time of period when it was like, even like 2002 to 2000, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there, was like such a glory day of radio. I mean, you guys got to look back on that and think we did the wildest shit ever broadcasted.
Yeah, but it was started from the 90s on, to 2010, I think.
Yeah, I look at the scripts to the Jackie's Joke Hunt, and we did every I mean really, really, really filthy joke that you could, and I just listened to the intros to. That was the most fun in the world, coming up with the name and the theme of the show and writing the introduction. And I'd make Ian had to read it cold without a pre-read, and just if I could make him choke, that was the whole thing. But everybody, I had the cast of Jersey Boys. The first cast of Jersey Boys came on, and they sang a song a cappella, and then they all told dick jokes. I mean, you can't make that up. Sid Bernstein booked the Beatles at Shea Stadium, and he's there I had him tell Jew jokes. I asked him to sign it, and he wrote, "I did not sign this." Great fun.
Oh yeah.
Those were great days. Great, all of it.
Dave Dallafor wants to know if he can get an autographed copy of Bow to Stern.
Sure, I'm sure somebody has one for sale.
Check out eBay right now.
Buy one and send it to me, or send me money. Just email me, jokeland@aol.com. I know you're just breaking my balls, but it did give a plug for my book. So, I don't know who he is. I know you have one listener, and he's asked 85 questions.
It's the whole reason we can do this. There you go, jokeland@aol.com. In our final story, immortality is now attainable by 2030. Scientists are saying, given that you guys have such rich history. Now, do you think aging with stand-up makes you appreciate it more? Or do you think if you could keep this train going forever, you guys would choose to be immortal?
I would.
I don't choose to answer this question because God knows I'm not going to make it to 2030. So I
you better make it to July where you owe me that fucking money.
I have every intention of dying on July 3rd.
It would be the greatest joke if you offed yourself on July 3rd as just not to give me $100
for $100. Right.
I'll fix him.
It's like the Jew that committed suicide by choking himself to death so he wouldn't have to buy a rope. That's not bad. I think I just made that up.
That's
not
good.
Bad. That's add that to the next email list. If you guys if you email Jackie, you will be added to his email list, which is hysterical because it is. I mean, it's like your own personal Twitter. You've got the amount of jokes that you put out into these mailing lists and just throw them out. I
stopped doing that a couple of years ago, because I did it for 25 years. And I mean, jokes and jokes and jokes, and then jokes for kids and plugs and blah, blah, blah. But then I started seeing people, and people would be like, Jackie, why'd you stop sending out the jokes? I said, I never stopped. Well, I haven't gotten one in 3 years. I haven't got one because the spam filters have gotten so, monstrous. If there's a dirty word or if there's a URL, some of them worse than others. But people say, when I got way too many people saying, they stopped getting them. I said, I didn't know whether out of 10 people, were 5 people getting them, or 9 people getting them, or were 2 people. I said, fuck this,
Yeah.
So,
That must
you
be
know.
why people aren't coming to my shows. My schedules in their spam folder.
Yeah, figure it out. I can't figure any of that shit out.
Bobby, would you be immortal?
I believe I am already. I'm already dead. Basically, yeah, I'm a vampire, so everybody knows that. So, I mean, look, you always think you're going to be around forever, and I try not to think about dying because things are just, I'm very happy now. You know what I mean? I'm like, I hit a spot again that I'm enjoying everything I'm doing. And, sometimes people don't enjoy after a while. Like you hear comedians bitching all the time how they hate it. The only thing that sucks is driving to gigs and that shit.
But you know what?
And
That doesn't even suck. Do you listen to books on tape? Ever since I got books on tape, I'll get to where I'm going. I'll take another spin around the fucking park. I'm enjoying the cruise, Although it might be because I work so little. I don't know if you're working 6 nights a week,
No.
The driving is crazy. I work once a month. I'm like, hey, where's my car? I got a gig tonight,
It's more the red lights for Bob. Bob doesn't want to stop and listen to a book at a red light.
Now when the red lights are just going to go
I remember
through.
in 1979, Bob Woods, we used to drink like three 6-packs of beer on the way. It was like 1979.
Yeah.
And Woods goes, when you're a comedian, it's the 4th night of the week. You're in fucking New Jersey, and it's not weird. And you realize you're in New Jersey every night of your life. Here we are. We might as well lived on the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah, Woods was the greatest. Yeah, Woods was like so much fun. Like there was, we used to go and do a gig, and we would drink so much that.
For the people that don't know, Bob Woods was a comic that weighed between 350 or 400, depending on if he was dieting. And he was so gruff, and he was a monster, but the biggest gentle giant. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Levy. I just want
it's the truth. It really is. And like we would go and drink at a place, and then the comedians would go there the next week, and they don't give out free drinks anymore because of you two assholes. And they started charging it. Remember Betty's Fireside in Jersey, that fucking rough place?
I'm the only guy that never worked there.
Oh, really? It was really rough. There was some guy. It was you were behind a horseshoe of the bar. You were up on stage, and then there was seats all around. And this guy on the left is just fucking going after Bobby when he's on stage. And Bobby goes, "You better shut your mouth, or I'm gonna fucking jump onto you." And he's up there. The guy said, all of a sudden he jumps up. He jumps up off the stage and fucking lands on the guy on the chair and basically kills him. There's Bobby Woods, one of the funniest guys.
That's hilarious.
That's a thin version of him. That's a thin version.
But he was hilarious. He was so much fun to be with. Like I remember like doing gigs with him and Otto, and it was just like so much. That was when it was like you had stories because it was insane. And I don't know if you remember Mike Austin, the booker back then. He used to have gigs in Jersey and that stuff. We used to go to his house and just party afterwards. It was insanity back there. Like comedians now don't know. They're all like, they all are in rehab. They're all, you know what I mean, or whatever. They go to meetings.
They're not packing 3, 4, 5 guys in a car and going to a gig.
No.
The car rides were the best things. I remember years ago that people said to Robin Williams, how is it being a TV star? He said, "It's great, but I really miss the car."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, and I'm sure he wasn't kidding. It gets very lonely. All of a sudden, I'm on the Stern Show and I'm a big deal. And I go to do a gig. It's just me in Chicago, or it's just me in Denver. I'm not with 2 or 3 or 4 guys to fuck around with. I got a local disc jockey opening the show,
Yep.
So,
but comics always do talk about that stuff. It's like even this is funny because this is now the opposite end of it. Bobby Levy and I always talk about how he started Gino Bisconti started me, and it's like all these fun road stories that you bring up when you get back together of like, hey, remember, he was blacked out one time and I came out and he's wandering outside of a parking lot, and I go, "Did you throw up?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "Do you think you should before we get back on the road?" It's like little stories like that. So hearing Levy's now connection and kind of like intro into it, is a fun angle on it. But I do want to get to this guy's question too. Of Altcoin Accelerator 199 said, how crazy was it walking around in the 90s in New York with the fans?
If he's asking me, I was always lucky because I had the exact right degree of fame. Like Howard couldn't leave his house. He couldn't, walk out of the sleep. But I could go anywhere because they didn't throw things at me. And because I was like the approachable guy, I would park on the other side of town and walk across town to work. And at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, the only people out there, the garbage men and the cops, and they will yell, "Hey, Jack, how you doing, man? Have a good show, blah, blah, blah." It was like one of the guys,
Yeah.
It was so much. It was what is amazing how it's just, you couldn't really describe how close you felt to the people. I remember so distinctly, I'd be in the car on the way home after a show. And there'd be days when I'd be home in Bayville swimming in the sound when the 12 o'clock whistle went off, and we'd be coming home in the summer and there'd be construction, and they get so pissed off and sitting there in construction, and a guy would be next to me and the guy would yell over me, but he wouldn't say, "Hey, are you Jackie? Or are you the guy from the Howard Stern show?" He'd say, "Hey, what'd she look like?" I said, "You know what? She didn't look anywhere near as good as he tries to make him look. No, she had some nice tits, but she was kind of a pig." Yeah, that's what, you just mid-conversation with the guy in another car. It made New York, like the times I was late, your traffic on the expressway, everybody's honking, "Get to work, you fucking asshole, you fucking," which was, it was so bonding. It was spectacular, but it was never
That's
like
the whole thing about the show, because they knew you wherever you were. It was like the conversation would just start wherever they wanted to say to you, because you were like family to them. It was amazing times. It really was.
Yeah, no real preamble, because the preamble had been all the years on the air,
Right. I remember I was walking around New York with Artie one time, and I was asking him, when he had his DirecTV show, I was asking him, we were walking past and a construction guy was, "Oh, Art, what's going on, man?" And I was like, "Does that ever get old to you? Like, are you ever like numb to that?" And he was like, "Absolutely not." He was like, "What would be the funniest part or the hardest part of it is like if you wore a jacket that you thought was like the best thing you've ever bought because you had a little bit of money, and you went in and the crew fucking roasted you. When you left that studio, it didn't stop. Now normal people are going, "Hey, nice jacket, you fucking queer." It's like yelling on the street.
Absolutely. People come up and say, "I really miss the show, blah, blah, blah. You must get sick of hearing that." And I said, if I ever get sick of hearing that, put a bullet in my head.
Yeah.
I never get sick of talking about it, answering questions. It's all fine. It's all fun. And so the goddamn YouTube and the internet has kept the whole thing so alive. I get fan mail from like 25-year-old kids. I'm like, "You weren't even born when I left the show."
Yeah.
But, the greatest compliment I ever got, listen, if all of a sudden I disappear, it's because this has been a long show and my iPad's going to die.
Do it after January 4th, though.
July 4th.
July 4th.
A guy came up to me, a kid texted me, and he said, "Jackie, I'm 27 years old. I live in Toronto. I discovered the Howard Stern show, and it immediately became my favorite thing in the world." He said, "But it was really weird because after I was a fan for a little while, I realized that there were old shows that were on YouTube and on different places on the internet. And I went back and sought out and he said, the only analogy I can give you, it's like having a new favorite band.
Yeah.
And then finding out that their earlier albums were much better."
Yeah.
How great a compliment is that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's like the perfect compliment. I found that kid and I blew him.
Twice.
And Bob, how do you think he got on the show? I mean, it's all full circle here. Screaming Jay Cooper, $2 says, "Jackie's great. Good to see him. Longtime fan." Hey, Joe, before...
No, wait. He says it's good to see me and he gives you $2?
I'm trying to get to 100 before July. Jackie, where can I get your cassette tapes? Jimmy
I got a basement full of them. Email me, jokeland@aol.com. I'll sell them to you for $0.10 a piece. All the stuff that I used to sell when I went off the show, that was all mail order. All that stuff came back from the mail order house, and you had to be hundreds and hundreds ahead. And now I got DVD. I got so many CDs of my albums, but nobody. you can't give them away. You can't even give them away. You know, that
Hey,
was
Bob,
such
for the record, don't we need an extra copy of Hot Dogs and Donuts for Perry?
Well, Perry, Perry Carvello had a thing. We had him put it in the microwave, and we were going to give him $100 to do it.
That's not funny. And also, email the address, and I'll send you 3 of them.
All right, go. Yeah.
Esteban Comulet says Mike Morse looks different. This is a different BS show.
Yeah, because Perry thought that Mike was Jackie one night when we had him on, so he was calling him Jackie.
Oh,
the
that's
whole
so
time.
funny.
Mhm.
He's very lucky. Very lucky.
Both very good-looking guys. Bone CK $2 says, "Long live the jokester."
Yeah.
Let's throw through any last comments or questions for Jackie. I do want to get him out of here before.
That was the last of the super chat.
That was the last one. All right, perfect. Listen, thank Tom Selleck for giving us the time with you, because I know otherwise, if you weren't having that filming at your house, we wouldn't have landed you. So tell Tom I said hey.
Well, you know what? I guess I don't watch the show, but I guess Tom never leaves the office on the show. He just sends the people out to do the dirty work. I don't think Sharippa leaves either. But me and Bales are going to be at the brokerage on Saturday night, May 6th. We're going to be doing the charity event at the Italian American Club for Autism at the Italians for Autism is almost redundant. April 8 o'clock, April 13th at the Italian American Club. Me and Peter are doing a charity show, and you get tickets to anything on jokeland.com. And please be on the lookout for Jokeman, the IKA Collective documentary, and we will have some fun screenings, and we will have fun with that. Because the documentary will be fun, but the Q&A after will be great, because Levy, I'm sure you know, there is never a shortage of questions. Everybody has so many questions, and when they find out that you don't mind talking about it, let alone that you live for it, you know, you go around the world and back. And Dombrowski, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being. I think his
guy
just died
just in time.
Wow, that's amazing.
What did he say, guys? Did he say thanks? He said thanks for having me, right?
Yeah,
he said that.
Thanks, Joe and Bob, and screw you, Kevin. That's what I thought.
No, Jackie was always a good man. You know, always helped. And like the first time he goes, I go, "What do I do, Jackie?" He goes, "In a year, I'll tell you." You know what I mean? I'll help you out. And we basically, after a year, I went up to him and I go, "All right, it's been a year. What do I do?" You know, and he goes, "I'll just send out tapes to everybody, and then you get in the clubs." You know, it was so funny.
He goes, he goes, "Nothing you did over the last year."
No, but it was like, it was a great, like, come on, to be on those shows back then, from just being a listener to Stern, and then and going, "Oh my God, he's got an open mic. Let's fucking I'm gonna put together $10." My friend Buddy, $10, but I'm gonna put together 10 minutes. And my friend Buddy was like, "You can try this. You're good at this shit," and it changed my life.
Totally. I mean, those moments are so fun. Like I did the wrap up show, obviously later in the years, up at Sirius. It was when Shuli was still on the show, and I saw him up there in the green room. It was really fun. And then, you know, I met all the guys, blah, blah, blah. And then I went, my wife was working on Broadway. Her office was on Broadway in Midtown. And she was like, "Hey, just pick out a place. I'll meet you over there. We'll have a lunch of," you know, this was like getting on the wrap-up show was like my late night set. This is, I idolized you guys growing up, of all the years of shock jock into like what you guys did at Sirius, and the freedom to not have the FCC anymore. That was like, man, that was my Carson. That was knowing everything about all these stand-ups. So I was on such a high, and I go to the Applejack Diner, and I'll tell you this, Bob, this is one of the funniest fucking things. So I go there and I walk in and I look and I go, "Is that fucking Jackie Martling?" And he was sitting in a booth by himself, and he was trying to get the attention of a waitress. And I walk in and we saw each other, and he knew I recognized him, and we just did like a little head nod, right? And I sit in the booth, and Jackie's trying to get the waitress's attention, and she finally looks at him, and he stands up, and he takes 2 singles out of his pocket. He goes, "I tell you what, you're not getting much from me today." And he threw down 2 singles, and he walks out. He pays the bill. He walks out, and I text Shuli, and I go, "Tell me how I just did the wrap-up show, I'm on like the high of a lifetime for me. And I go to the diner and I see Jackie at the diner trying to get the waitress's attention. And he was like, buddy, I had the same thing when I was doing sheetrock. I'm in a sheetrock van listening to Stern. And then years later, I'm up in the studio talking to him about a whack packer or this or that. He was like, it's those moments that you look back and you go, man, what a fucking crazy time.
It was. It was insane. It was just like, it was the perfect time to be there. And it was like, you couldn't beat it. You know what I mean? It was just like, you know, your emotions were crazy because you never knew what was going to happen. You didn't know if Howard was in a good mood. Like if you're driving up there, I would drive really early. The show would come on. You hear the music. You're all psyched because you're going to be on. And he's like, I'm just in a fucking bad mood. I didn't sleep all night. And I'm like, fuck. You know, it was like little things like that. But, you know, you just had to do what you had to do to bring something, whether it was good or bad, to the show, because it was whatever you did, it was going to be something against you, you know, or whatever. It's just the way it is, and that's what radio should always be. You know, you should always be on your toes. You know, it shouldn't be a walk in the park.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Bobby, thanks for coming on, man. That was a fun surprise getting you in.
Yeah, no, it's good to see Jackie too. I haven't seen him in a long time, and you know, he's always been good to me. Don't forget to check out the Shuli Network. We got a lot of shows. We got fucking the big show on May 13th in Pottstown, New PA. Yeah, thank you. Go to theshulinetwork.com. Get your tickets now. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna hang out with us. It's gonna be a really good time. I like, if you come, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it's gonna be amazing. TheShuliNetwork.com. Later on today, I'll be on the MLC podcast on YouTube.com at 5:00. MLC podcast on Patreon.com. Sign up there. I'm gonna get yelled at today because of what?
Because of this? Are you gonna get yelled at for this?
No, yesterday, because Rob Solstar. It's going to be good radio. Like, we will not talk before the show, put it that way. And it should be fun. And tonight and tomorrow, I'll be at the Comedy Cove, located above Scotty's Steakhouse in Springfield, New Jersey, ScottySteakhouse.com. Come on out. It'll be fun. I give it my all no matter what. And it's always good. You know, it's fun.
And Bobby's got a door deal, so help him out, motherfuckers.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I did it because, well, let's see if they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's in basketball, we call that a heat check, Bobby. You're selling out right now, so let's see. Let's throw a little heat check.
That's what it is. This will be like, you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's been good since January, so we'll see. You know, I pulled it. You know, I know that the numbers that they get, and you know, you've been there. You know, so we'll see what happens, and then I can judge it from there, and it's everything's cool. Everything's going well and fun and hate, you know, fun and hate. You put it together, it's a fucking great thing, you know.
Absolutely. You can check me out online at Kevin Dombrowski on all my social media. I'm as Bob says, I'm much longer in this picture than I am in real life.
I never seen anything like that.
If you're listening right now, check us out live every Friday on the Shuli Network, theshulinetwork.com. On our YouTube page, we have a slew of different shows. Everything's taken off on the network. It's a fun time to be a part of it. It's all about making people laugh here, which is what we do on Just Joking. No interviews, no arguments, just jokes. Eleanor Kerrigan next week.
She's great.
2 p.m., baby. For myself and the Rabbi Bob Levy, signing off. We'll see you next Friday, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you at 5.